Hey Lawrence, good to see you. Ryan, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to another session. Interesting sort of zone we're in at the moment. Hey Lawrence, good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing all right. Adair, good morning. Just going to give folks a minute or so to sign on in, then we'll get stuck in. Got quite a few moving parts today, so we'll take our time. We don't want to rush anything today. Going to give folks a little bit longer because I'm going to cover that ISM PMI print that we've got coming up as well. Could be an opportunity in the euro dollar. And if I don't have to repeat myself, that'll be good. Just going to give it a bit of time. Hope you're doing well, Adair. Well done yesterday. Good work good recovery from Friday. And well done you yesterday, Ryan. Great day. Hit the full target. And well done as well for setting up your account so it automatically closes. So it's good to do that because that means your process now is gonna be stronger than your emotion, and that's a thumbs up. Well done. My affirmation today for my trade journal is: I'm allowed to lose today. I'm not here to be perfect. I'm here to be consistent. I can take a loss and return tomorrow with strength. One day does not define me. My discipline does. Good, Ryan. That's it. That's it. It's coming together, right? And it can only increase from here, Ryan. You see what I mean? It's only going to get better. All right, let's get stuck in. Okay, so what's going on today in the equity space? Tentative. We've got a number of these. We've got so many moving parts. There's the hey Najam. There's the potential trade deal still trying to be sorted out with Japan. The Swiss Prime Minister's flying over to speak to Trump and is looking like willing to make some concessions to get a trade deal done with the US. That's potentially going to weaken the Swiss franc, but just keep that in mind. We also had the issue with the India trade deal, and Trump sort of criticizing India for buying Russian oil and then selling it back to the market at a markup. Whether that's a specific attempt to try to lean on India to stop buying Russian oil, or whether it's part of a wider plan, remains to be seen. But bottom line is there's a lot of trade notion headlines around, and then we still have Donald Trump, who still needs to pick a new head of Bureau for Labour Statistics. The jobs number was weak last Friday, so the guy got sacked. Good luck to taking that job. And then you got Fred Kugler, who just quit their role and needs to be replaced. So those two appointments have to occur. They're likely to move the markets when they are announced. Also, you had Fed's Daily, who was making a case for 2 interest rate cuts this year, saying we don't have to be overly cautious essentially before we're sure that inflation is moving in the right direction before we cut. So that's a sort of more dovish look. Now you've got Daily now, you've got Waller and Bowman. So you've got another dove, right? And the pressure, I mean, Trump puts pressure on Powell, it seems, about 2 or 3 times a day. We hear the headline, too late Powell, he's terrible, he's awful. So if you look at Stir Market or overnight index swaps pricing, you can see it's dropped down again. So the expectation now is definitely for a rate cut in September and the end of the year, right? The short-term interest from markets are seeing 2 interest rate cuts. So, right, we can see that sort of move when Daily spoke, expectations dropped. So what will be interesting today, what the focus is today, arguably the most important release of this week is this ISM print. Now, the ISM print has more impact than the S&P Global sentiment print. And this is kind of the hybrid between quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative data, GDP, retail sales, it's obvious, it's quantifiable. Qualitative stuff is, when central bank speakers say something, phrase here, a phrase there, it's much more subjective, difficult to quantify. This is kind of midway between quantitative and qualitative. It summarizes surveys and puts it into a number. Now, the headline's important, expected to tick up from 50.8 to 51.5, but the prices paid and employment index are arguably more important. So the trading opportunity that I'd look for here intraday is, say you see the employment index miss. It's already in contractionary territory, so that's worrying markets, right? And we saw how markets reacted to that weak jobs report on Friday. So if we get a big miss here, in the employment index, then it wouldn't be unreasonable to look for euro dollar upside, but we'd also want to see prices paid, right? Ideally, if they missed as well, and the whole thing, the PMIs missed. So if that missed, and the employment index missed, then we should see a shoot up to the euro dollar up to the big round number. So that would be looking for a big round number, and then up and beyond. If you look at this, I think we were talking about this yesterday, Najim. It's a bullish engulfing bar on the euro dollar pair, so that's very strong, but it's into resistance. So if this bullish engulfing bar pushed up above that 600 level and above that resistance level here, right? Great. You could argue that it is above this resistance here. So what I would say is if we do get that big miss, then euro dollar longs make sense, and it could run up to the 600, 650 intraday, right? Just see where the IV levels are. We've got 626. All right, okay, 626 and 683. Hang on, let's get rid of that on that. So that's 1 and that's 2. So they're the levels, and they're above that 739. Right. I'll just put it in just in case. Could be relevant. We don't want to be faffing around with it if we get the deviation. So there are your 3 targets. Right. 1, 2, 3 in the euro dollar. So that's worth looking at. In terms of sort of general trades I've got on, silver, nice little Harami inside bar, break of a Harami inside bar. So I bought into this dip just based on this kind of look with this fat level here. And I've been bullish silver and remain bullish silver. Just took profit up at the highs, which turned out to be prescient, and then added extra positions here, added another position today with that Harami inside bar breaking this high. Okay, so that's supportive, and added a long into copper, right? Took profit up at the top when we had that, where was it? We had that really strange, not strange, but we had that sort of coiling action priced here like this, and took the long when we had a breakout on balance volume pushing higher, and just took profit up at the highs, couldn't break out of the highs. Then we had that headline, right? So that's copper, but I bought a position in down here. I quite like that. I think there are a lot of structural reasons for copper upside. So if it goes further, I'll build another position in. But that's more of a long-term trade. So that's what I'm looking at. Now, other thing to point out is the euro dollar. Was just pointing out the nice flag pattern that we got from the NFP. Now, it didn't get all the way, but it would have been decent for a breakout. And just a little reminder of that. That was on the Friday, right, and hit up to those highs. Looking across markets, broadly pressured, but gains from yesterday. A lot of headlines. Might just wait for that ISM PMI print. You might find the market waiting for that. Yields just taking a little push higher after the recent falls. You've got the gold, silver finding buyers despite slightly stronger dollar today, and you've got WTI Brent crude pushing lower. The majors broadly supported after the very weak jobs print. Now we're waiting for the next data point, right? So that's where we're at. So there's a slight sort of hiatus waiting. You could also look here for a potential break of that trend line on the week data. That would be in at S1 and then trying to play it higher. That's what I'm looking for. Now, in terms of the delta for the day, positive inventory. And if you just look at this on the weekly, we're sat in this big support level, developed value area, developing value area, and price just sort of sat on top of it. But it's a bit messy, right? It's this huge band, right? But we're sort of sat in this developed value area and developing value area. Point of control sits a bit lower. At the moment, price is just sort of pressurizing a little bit. It wants to drop, but it's quite messy. You can see sellers have trapped buyers up here, but you're into support. So it's not a trade I want to take, right? Because you're right into that support level. Then on the 15-minute, we got all these messy levels up here as well. But again, we got some developed value areas that we're trying to push through. Push through this area here. Maybe there's a little drop down to the 6353, which is also the, let's see, where's that point of control? The point of control is a bit further down, 6346. There could be a little flush lower there on the 15-minute, which is worth maybe looking at, seeing what we get at the open. But if you get an open underneath this level, then maybe you're going to see a little bit more downside. Tricky one. And there's all these zones here, so I'm finding it a bit messy as we start the session, but that's not unreasonable. You can see pressures to the downside now. We're in this big support level on the hourly, right? So this is a weekly area high. So really, I want to get down underneath here to have confidence, or else I'll be expecting buyers to come in here. So we'll see. So you had a 15-minute close, and we've got underneath some of those buyers there. So sellers are there, but maybe if you get these buyers getting trapped, we could look for a run down. But we'll see when we get to the open. So I'll come back just before the open and have a look. Yeah, that's the major things that I'm looking at. There's nothing else. Just making sure we've got squawk on. And then the main the data that's going to be, is arguably the most important data of this week, is at 3. So about half an hour after the open. So we're in a messy position here, but big picture, are we opening above yesterday's value area? Yes. So from the TPO, right, we are in balance, but we've had a recent balance and we're in a sort of area for potential buying. And notice how yesterday we went imbalanced, eventually broke through that area. So that was, remember Ryan, we were talking about, how often does it hold? You had 5, 6, 7 touches. And I was saying that generally when you keep knocking on the door, you eventually get through. So I stayed around, I tried to get into this, but it was very messy. I mean, when we broke out, there wasn't anything obvious. And by the time we did break through, I packed up for the day. Oh yeah, nice. It is a nice flag breakout. Yeah, nice, Najam. Did you take it yesterday? Did you get in on that? Yeah. Nice delta confirming it as well. That's what we were looking for, wasn't it? So that was the confirmation. And then we got another run higher after that. Well done, Najam. I wouldn't have expected anything less from the flagman. It was faffing around up there for a long time, wasn't it? And I could see where even when we had the early break, sort of towards 5, 6 o'clock, I thought, well, nah, this is not going anywhere. I didn't want to stay there for 2, 3 hours. All right, folks, we'll come back for the open and we'll see where we're at. Holding under that value area low for now. But we want to see it break down through that to give us any conviction of shorts. Okay, so we've had a 5-minute close. Sellers have trapped those buyers.
Coming up in about 10 minutes, we are looking out for the final revisions to S&P Global Services PMI for the month of July. In terms of the prior figures for services, revision last time was 55.2, for the composite 54.6.
Right, so you have got a scenario there where sellers have trapped buyers. Right, so do we get selling coming in here? That's the question. Have a look at the tick chart. Do you get sellers standing in on this? The entry would be underneath there if you do, but it's into the point of control. Here we go. If those sellers can trap those buyers, look for sellers to come in. Right, so that would be your sell there at market, but it's into the point of control, makes it tricky. But that would have been the sell. Stop would be above 6363. I'm not taking it because I think there's a chance this is going to break higher, but that would have been the entry. Let's see how it plays out. Because the rationale would be, look, those sellers have trapped these buyers, so look for a pullback and then sell into it. Yeah, and the problem is I don't like the area. It's just the wrong area to look for it. Yeah, okay, let's just see. Right, standard, and the standard volume there is standard deviation is holding there. On balance volume grinding lower. Right, that would be the exit place. Now those sellers have still trapped those buyers, so the other potential entry with the VWAP. So let's see what we get there, if anything. We'll be looking for buyers to get trapped there and then short that. Okay, there we go. Look, buyers suddenly came in. A lot of buyers came in there. Look at the tick chart, you'll see. Big spike, 600 plus buyers. That is it. That is of interest, isn't it? So that's 15 trying to break out of this level. The 5 trying to push above these sellers here. So looking for pullbacks on the tick chart, really. Okay, here comes the pullback. So you get a 5-minute break above. This will be crucial here. Right. Okay, so 5-minute break above those highs can look for longs. I'm happy to look for longs if I get a 5-minute break above those highs. 10 seconds. Yeah, that's an entry.
Update on geopolitics via Iran's international, citing ABC News. Netanyahu, Israeli PM, has proposed that Israeli forces take over the Gaza Strip completely.
I'm still in. Okay, I'm out of that. I will re-enter if I get sellers trapping. I'll go back in. If I go back above the VWAP. Just lightening off a bit. Right, give it another go. Just got some sellers trapped on the tick chart. Just here. Right, buyers just trapped sellers above the VWAP. Gonna give it another dash. And coming up to a 15-minute close as well.
We're now approaching 1 minute to the final revision from the S&P Global on the US Services PMI for the month of July. Ten seconds. Services, that's revised up to 55.7 from 55.2. Composite revised up to 55.1 from 54.6.
Okay, that's great. So I've just taken profit at the standard deviation, folks. I'll just run through the trade with you. Just gonna make sure everything's closed off. We've got the ISMs coming up, you see. Yeah. So I'll just run through the logic. So the logic was 5-minute buyers trapping sellers. So I'm looking for a pullback in the tick chart, right? And sellers to get trapped. So sellers got trapped here, entered, 2 positions long, took 1 out as we took out those lows, just having a look. Then when buyers trapped those sellers again, entered a second one long. And I've just taken profit into the standard deviation because I don't know what's going to happen around this PMI, as you see. So it's all right. I'll do for the day, if that's all I get. So we'll see.